Welcome back to A Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, and I must warn you that the throat is starting to fail after that first half. I'm joined by Kevin McCluskey and Liam Carrigan. We've got to just start with the goal and we can work our way back from there. Gentlemen, Kevin, you're watching the game in Hungary. What a marvellously worked goal that was, involving four players who I thought had mixed fortunes in the first half, but that was a tremendous goal that we just crafted there.
Oh, sorry, Paul. I think I've lost you there.
Liam, mate, can you still hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, mate.
I've got you back now.
Okay.
Sorry, it's just at my end.
Did you hear my preamble, Kevin?
I got up to four players being involved in the goal, so I'll just run with it.
You can just wing it. Just wing it, mate. Yes.
Just wing it. Just like Celtic. We'll wing it. We'll come out from the left field.
Like it.
What a goal that was, eh? That was... I'd literally just written a note down before about everything we're doing is coming down the right, or all our good plays coming down the right, but a goal's coming. I got it half right. Goal came, but from the left. And what a goal it was. Aaron Moy's pass in that inside channel.
Marvellous pass.
A place I thought we were going to capitalise on, because they like to push their full-backs up, and Tavernier's not the best at defending. Finally, we managed to get that wee bit of space in behind, and that's all we need, is that one chance to get in there. Taylor, brilliant ball across, lovely dummy by Maeda. I'm sure he meant that. And Kyogo just does what he does. He'd missed a couple of chances before, but he doesn't seem to let it affect him. And he's in for the next chance, and he gets it. And we absolutely deserved that, because, they had a couple of chances, give them their due, but for... certainly the last 10 minutes of the half, it was all Celtic, and it was coming, and that was that's absolutely the reward for incessant attacking play. Brilliant.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We'll start off with the Moy pass then, Liam, because it was, that we talk about transitions now, and it's all about what's actually injecting a wee bit of momentum into the play, and it all starts with Moy making that incisive pass. And he makes it so well, and that's where things start. You're getting them on the back foot. That's when things start to open up, and he plays in Taylor. But Taylor had a lot to do at that point.
Yeah, but I really do think that the way Moy, essentially starts the move that leads to the goal, that has just been indicative of his play throughout the entire.
You mentioned it, Liam. You mentioned it in the pre-match.
Yep. He's been the man of the match for me by quite a distance. The tackling he's been putting in, breaking up the midfield play. I was watching the game with my dad, over the phone, and I says to him, I said, look, if you notice, every time there's a loose ball in the midfield, Celtic are sweeping it up, and 9 times out of 10 it's Aaron Moy who's sweeping it up. Mm-hmm. Absolutely unplayable today. Kyogo, like you say, he threatened a couple of times, and you knew eventually he was going to get that chance, and he did. But what a ball across for Taylor. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say magnificent dummy from Maeda, because I'm sure he tried it. Of course he did. Kyogo just does what he does best and sticks it right in the net.
Fabulous.
I don't know if you guys had the same camera coverage as me, and I don't mean to be cruel, but when the goal went in, about a minute later, it cut to the crowd. There was this one Rangers fan who looked absolutely distraught.
Did you feel for him, Liam? Did you feel for him? I don't think any of us did. To be totally honest with you, the four players involved in the goal, I completely agree with you, Liam. I think Moy has been fantastic. I mean, the ball winning. We spoke about it before the game. What does Moy give you that O'Reilly doesn't give you? And I'm a massive fan of Matt O'Reilly. We got it out in Morton Vikhorst on Thursday about the fact that he's pushing for a place in the Danish national team. He's a fantastic footballer, but Moy gives you something different. Now, I tell you, when we signed him, Kevin, we had lost Nir Beaton and we'd lost Tommy Rogic at the time as well. And from my knowledge of Moy at that point, I believe that there was a wee bit of both players in Moy, and I think he's shown both parts of that play in the first half. The ball winning, as Liam says, but when required, that incisive pass down. And by the way, he predicted it. Liam predicted that before the game, and I think he's been an outstanding player, Kevin.
He's been everywhere, and it's, as Liam said, every time the ball's gone loose in the midfield, 9 times out of 10, it's been a Celtic player that's picked it up, and 9 times out of those 10, it's been Moy, and it's been on the left side, it's been on the right, he's been everywhere. When we first signed him, I thought he was going to come in and be more of a Tom Rogic replacement rather than being a 2-for-1 kind of player. But he's completely proven me wrong with these performances. He's got a bit of dig about him that I didn't realise he had.
Yeah.
He's got such good game intelligence because he's not the quickest in the world, but he knows how to read the game and he just gets himself in the right place. And that's why he's been so important in this kind of a game. As much as I love Matt O'Reilly as well and think his energy could be huge in the last half hour of the game, having somebody like Moy in there who just is that calming influence, who just, as I say, covers the ground, gets himself in the right place. Such a big player in this kind of game. And I don't think you can look beyond him as being the player of the first half.
Yeah, but you make a really fine point there, Kevin, because I do think that the part to be played already, I think, is evident because O'Reilly may have to come on. Moy has taken a couple of what we called, Liam, dullions in the first half. He took a kick from Kamara, one from Davies. He's ran himself ragged in the first half. And we know that, maybe in the last 20 minutes, 30 minutes, he might be tiring. But it's so refreshing to be able to look onto that bench and say, well, you've got Matt O'Reilly sitting there who can come on and give you something, a completely different dimension. I want to then move on to Taylor, who collects the ball from Moy. I think up to that point, there was a real head-to-head battle. And I'm not sure. I mean, I thought Taylor done really well, but he's going to have to watch himself with a bit of pace. They kind of done, Liam, what we were threatening before the game, getting in behind our fullbacks. They've done that a couple of times to Taylor. To be fair, he recovered really well. And when he gets his opportunity on the other side, he did what Maeda's failed to do 3 times. He gets the ball across the face of goal.
Yeah, it's just it's that thing which Taylor I think doesn't get enough credit for actually sometimes, because we talk about when we signed Bernabe back in the summer, we talked about he'll give us that attacking option going down the flank that we're missing, but Taylor has really added that to his game. I think he's always had it, but this season it's become more apparent. The attacking fullback role, he really has developed into that. He was a very competent left back when we signed him. He is now an attacking left, almost wing back, I would say.
Yeah.
And the goal just typified that, because Maeda's not had the best game today. He's plenty of ingenuity, plenty of effort, which you always get from him, but couple of mishit crosses, couple of wee tricks that didn't quite come off for him. But then Taylor overlaps, puts the ball across, and it's a goal. It's just such a great out ball to have. You've got Maeda, but if you don't have Maeda, you probably get Taylor coming up behind him as well. So, and it's the same going down the other way. Johnson has put in a hell of a shift down
He's
the
played
right
well.
as well.
He's played really well in the first half. I totally agree with that. Liam, you know this about me. There's a few comments coming in. I'll bring a couple up just for examples here. Lane R. Maeda, I love you, but stop kicking it out. And Chancellor doesn't think he's having a great game. I totally get all that, right? But I don't think I would be taking him off. And I'll explain my thought process. Yeah, he was involved in the goal. I mean, he got quite a bit of credit, actually, from the commentary team for mishitting it. Obviously, he didn't do it on purpose. But it's kind of like offset Davis behind him, and Kyogo got a little bit of space in behind, and he's done really, really well. It was Real Madrid-esque, that miss, and thankfully Kyogo was able to put it in. But one thing I think that will keep him on the park is his defensive duties are still there. The ingenuity that Liam mentioned, Kevin, is still there, and I think you'll lose a bit of that if you bring on Abada and you've got Abada and Jota on the park at the same time.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, actually, his defensive duties, because the comments that are coming in, if you're just looking at his attacking game, are completely spot on. He's not had a very good game going forward today, Maeda. He's a threat when he's got the ball and he's got that pace that can get him behind and hurt Rangers. He just hasn't done it so far. But there has been maybe 3 or 4 occasions when they've been attacking down their right, so attacking Taylor, and it's Maeda that's the one that's running to get back and give him the support, and he's getting there ahead of Hatate, who's the closer player at the start of the move. And it's those kind of things that you miss if you take Maeda out. So, yep, he's maybe not been at it offensively, but defensively, he's been a big player for us in that first half. And I suspect at the start of the second half, Rangers are going to come out and up their attacking play a little bit because they need to now. So you're going to need to keep Maeda in there to just provide that wee bit of defensive stability. And then who better do you want at the other end to capitalise on space? It's going to be left behind because there will be more space now. They have to come out and get a goal. So Maeda's a perfect player, I think, just to capitalise on that for us.
You know this, I'm going to throw this to Liam because Liam, you had the knowledge of Maeda pre-Celtic. And yeah, I'm standing up for him a bit here because, like Kevin, I totally agree. I think offensively he's been pretty poor today, right? In fact, I don't think he's done a great deal. He won a corner when he switched with Jota. He won a corner on the right-hand side up against Barisic. Seemed to be getting a wee bit more joy down the right. So you've got that option where he can switch between him and Jota. The defensive option, as Kev says, they're going to come out the traps at the start of the second half. Not only do you need his defensive quality, but you need that transition, you need us on the break, and that's what he's good at. I think we're going to look at a completely different second half and hopefully a different second half performance by Maeda. Remember, this is a guy who's been on fire since the World Cup.
The other thing is, you can say he's not had a great game, and I'm Maeda's biggest fan. I'll admit he's not had a great game so far. But at the end of the day, if he's not on the park, we don't get that goal.
We don't score that goal
because the ball comes across. Whether it's a missed kick, whatever, he creates that distraction off the ball that draws out two Rangers defenders and leaves Kyogo with a tap-in, right? A lot of Maeda's play that people don't notice, because again, it's also down to how it is on TV, right? I mean, my friend and colleague on Celtic Down Under, Sean, he actually remarked that when he was back in Scotland last year, and he was able to actually go to a game, he said he developed a much more of an appreciation for Maeda, seeing him in person, because you could see all the stuff that he was doing off the ball, which is not picked up on the camera. And the goal just typifies that, because he makes that near post run. Whether he gets the ball or not, he draws the defenders away for Kyogo and allows Kyogo to score, which is, all right, the record will show it's a Kyogo goal, right? And the newspapers will probably say Maeda didn't have a great game. But at the end of the day, Maeda is as important to that goal as Taylor and Kyogo are. So, there is that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And, you'll remember that there was a great documentary made, Kevin, on Zinedine Zidane, and the soundtrack was Mogwai. And basically it was like a player cam for 90 minutes watching the great Zidane. I think you would have an appreciation of Maeda, not comparing him to Zidane, by the way, similar haircut. You'd have a different appreciation of Maeda if you watched him for 90 minutes. Like Liam says, the work rate is astonishing. And he's doing things like drawing people out of positions, creating space elsewhere. So even though he's not had a great game on the ball, I think his presence is for me, it's still vital in this game. And I'd be surprised if there was any changes at this stage in the match. But then we've got to talk about Kyogo. Now, I was actually taking a wee note here because he does tend to do this, Kevin. There were three chances. Probably the third one with the head was the best one, but there were three chances. He shot wide twice, once over with the head, just prior to that goal. And what I love about Kyogo is he doesn't let that affect him. He misses chances, doesn't affect his game, doesn't seem to affect his confidence, and when he gets the good chance in the game, he puts it away.
Yeah, I think that's the mark of a top-class striker, to not let those things bother him, because he knows that another chance is going to come along. He's not someone that's going to panic, not knowing when the next chance is there. And he actually missed another one quite near the start. I think it might have been Johnson played the long ball over the top.
Yes,
he just miscontrols it. It kind of gets stuck between his feet and he can't take it round McGregor. But yeah, like you say, he doesn't let it bother him. He just keeps on playing his game. He makes the same moves because he knows that the moves he's making are working. But he's finding the space. He's been picked out by teammates, and give him enough chances and he will score. Mm-hmm. It's frustrating when he doesn't score, obviously, but you also know that he's going to keep on at it, and he deserved that goal. You got to, piggyback on what Liam's saying about Maeda in that one as well. It's a great move, and it kind of, can't remember which game it was now, but it reminds me of a goal that I think it was Jota scores earlier on in the season, where there's something similar. The low ball coming in, and Jota and Kyogo both attack it at the near post, and it kind of ricochets in off one of them. And there was the view it's a lucky goal, but it's not. It's completely planned out that we have two people attacking in the similar area. If one doesn't get it, the other one does, and it increases the chances of scoring. So what Maeda's done is brilliant. He's missed the chance, but he's pulled the defender out of position. Kyogo's in, gets the goal. And you can see if he keeps on playing as he has, he'll get chances again in the second half. So maybe, just maybe, Liam will get his 5-1.
It might open up. I mean, there's that word again, lucky. I mean, it seems to be that, the old Jack Nicklaus saying, the more I practice, the luckier I get. And I think that Kyogo as well, he's obviously, he loves this tournament. You just think back to the game against Hibs last season. He's done it again today, and I wouldn't bet against him, as you say, continue to get into these spaces. The action is about to kick off. I don't want anyone to miss any of the action. Hopefully my voice is still with us by full time. If not, Kevin's going to have to do it for me. So let's go back to the action. Thanks everybody for getting involved, and thank you Kevin McCluskey and Liam Carrigan for joining me on A Celtic State of Mind.